Hi learners, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be writing decimals in word form. But before we dive in to look at some examples, I want us to understand the following rules. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to subscribe, hit the notification bell for more math videos. Alright, let's dive into understand these rules as we'll be applying them in writing decimals in word form. The first rule says that when you are asked to write decimals in word form, say the whole number. So remember that decimals has two parts. Let's say we have 5.276. We have the decimal part which begins after the decimal point to the right. So this part is the decimal part. And then we have before the decimal point is what we call the whole number part. So what is saying that when you are to write decimal in word form, you just say the whole number. So we have here 5. So you just say 5. I hope that is clear. And then this leads us to what? The next point or rule, which says that say end for the decimal point. So we have the decimal point here. So instead of saying 5 points, then you continue with the decimal part, you rather say what? End. So the decimal point is pronounced end. And then this will lead us to the third rule, which says what? Read the decimal part as one whole. We know that this decimal fraction has place values. 2 is at the tenths place or position. 7 is at the hundredths position. Then 6 is at the thousandths position. So what it's saying is that when you are coming to write it in word form, you don't say 2 tenths, 7 hundredths, 6 thousandths, but rather you read them as a whole. So it will be read as what? 276. I hope that is clear. And then this also leads us to what? The last rule, which says use the place value of the last digit. So what is the last digit? The last digit here is 6. And what's the place value? It is at the thousands position or place. So in writing 5.276 in word form, you write it as what? 5 and 276. Then you add the place value of the last digit, thousands. I hope that is clear. All right, so let's dive in to look at some examples, and this will make it more clearer. All right, so example number 1. We are to write 2.47 in word form. So the first rule says say the whole number. So we have 2, which is the whole number part. And then we have the decimal point, which is to be read as what? End. And then we have the decimal part, which is to be read as 47 in this case. So this is the decimal part. So, and then you add the last digit is at where? The hundredths position. So hundredths position. So this will be read as what? 2 and 47. Then you add the last digit place value, hundredths. I hope that is simple and clear. All right, so let's look at our next example. You can pause the video and then try your hand on it and then come back to confirm if your answer is correct. Now this will be quite tricky. We have 0.3 to be written in word form. So remember remember we have 0 here, and then we have a point, so the 0, which is the whole number, and then we have the decimal point for end, and then we have 3 for the decimal part. Now remember, what is the last digit? What is the place value for the last digit? It's at the what? The tens position. Now, in this case, you will not read it as 0 and 3/10. No, we don't read it that way. So this one will be written as what? 3/10. Just 3/10. We don't mention the zeros. So whenever 0 is beginning, or probably maybe something like this, maybe 0.001, you don't pronounce all these zeros when writing it in what? In word form. You only move to the first non-zero digit, which is 1. So this will be what? 1,000s. 1,000s. I hope that is clear. All right. So with that said, let's look at our second example. All right, so example number 2, we are to write 0.08 in in word form. 0.08 in word form. So now remember, we have 0, which is the whole number. We have a point, which is end. Then we have another 0.8, which is the decimal part. But remember, because we have 0, we are not going to mention any of these zeros. So we move straight to the first non-zero digit, which is 8. Then, so what is the last digit? That is 8. And what place value it is? We have, it is at the hundredths position. So this will be what? Written as 800. I hope that is clear. All right. So remember, when you have zeros from the beginning, continuation, we look for the first non-zero digit. And that is where we start to write. All right. So let's look at more examples where we have 0 in between. So let's try our hands on 5.304. 5.304. So we have the 5, which is the whole number. And then we have the point, which will be read as what? End. And then we have the 304, which is we read as what? 304, which is the decimal part. And then we have the last digit, which is what? What is the place value of the last digit? It's at the thousands position. All right, so this will be written as what? 5 and 300 and 4. Then you add the last digit place value, which is at the thousands. As simple as that. I hope that is clear. All right. So let's look at one more example, which you can pause the video and try your hands on. 3.756. So try your hands on 3.756. Remember the first rule, which says what? You should write or say the whole number. So we have 3, which is the whole number part. And then we have the point for end. Then we have 756 for the decimal part. And then we have what? The last digit. What is the place value of the last digit? It's at the what? The thousands position. Thousands position. So here you write it as what? 3 and 756. Then add the last digit place value, which is what? 1000. And that is it. I hope this is clear. All right. So you can try your hands on this and then keep practicing, because the more you practice, the more you become master when it comes to writing decimals in word form. So you can try your hands on 6.582 in word form, and then write your answer in the comment section. So today we're able to look at how to write decimals in word form, and we were able to follow some rules, which says what? The first rule says say the whole number. So the first thing is to say the whole number, and then use end for the decimal point, and then you read the decimal part as what? One whole number, and then you use the place value of the last digit only. That will be the last thing you write when writing decimals in word form. Please do not read each place value separately. As even on the example on the screen, you don't say 6 and 5/10, 800 to 1000. We don't read it that way. And if this lesson helps you, I will encourage you to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can receive or be blessed with more math lessons. And until then, please keep practicing and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.